Good evening. How are you? Hope everyone is doing wonderful. Welcome back to By Any Greens Necessary. I'm your host, Melvin Thompson. I'm the executive director of the Endeleo Institute, and you should know by now that is a member organization of Trinity United Church of Christ at 400 West 95th Street on the far south side of Chicago. We had another splendid market this past Saturday, and we've got an exciting guest that I want to introduce you to in just a couple of seconds. But I wanted to, as I always do, give you just a little recap of what went on this past week at the market. And I'm going to back up one day because we partnered with one of Trinity's ministry corporations, the Trinity Child Care Corporation, on Friday. They held their annual graduation for very young people, and we had a very small role where we provided a cooking demonstration for young people and their parents after their graduation, and it was a tremendous success. Two of the black farmers provided the food, and then we had some ministry partners prepare it. It was wonderful. It is just something to see African Americans come together and celebrate their culture, the West African tradition that the child care does, and it was wonderful. The parents thought it was great, but the kids, the children, thought the food was spectacular, and that's saying something because we had fried corn, we had a sauteed cantaloupe, and we had a version of watermelon juice, which was delicious. They soaked it up, and it gave us a very nice bump because many of the folks that showed up for the graduation wound up turning around and coming to the farmers market the very next day, and many of them who are link eligible for the link card took strong advantage of the double value coupon program that we have at the farmers market, where you spend $1 and you get $1 worth of produce. I think we were almost up to about $200 in those coupons on Saturday. So it was overall just a wonderful opportunity, and I thank my colleague, Executive Director Dana Garner, for letting us be a very small part of such an inspiring event. And so I want to segue into that because right next to me is a gentleman that I'm just as excited about because he is doing something spectacular. As you know, Andeleo's mission is revitalizing existing assets in the community. Well, this brother here, Mr. Kareem Bial, Bial is the founder and proprietor of a fresh market, Kareem's Fresh Market, which is actually going to go into the shuttered Dominic's Foods. We all remember the Dominic's Foods at 71st and Jeffrey in the Jeffrey Plaza. Well, he is going to go into that store in the very near future. And so there's a very happy ending. When I found out and read about this in the South Shore Current, my colleague publishes the South Shore Current, Yvette Moyo, I couldn't put it down. And I contacted her and I said, Yvette, is there any way you can get this brother to me so we can talk to him about this exciting venture? This is a call-in show. I know you're going to want to ask him questions or have comments or congratulate him. So feel free at 312-738-1060. That's 312-738-1060. So Kareem, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for being here. Tell me the evolution of Kareem's Fresh Market. Walk us through how this all came about.
Well, as you know, I'm from South Shore community.
Yes, sir.
I was born in that, not born, but I was born in the South, on the South Side, but I kind of spent a lot of my latter years and adolescent years in the South Shore community. Graduated from South Shore High School and so forth, so on. And so during that era, I had noticed that there was a change coming very quickly in the retail food area. Now, I came through high school, and I went on to undergrad and went on and got my graduate degree. But in that field, I got an undergrad in marketing, so I worked in the food industry my whole tenure.
Mm-hmm.
And I went from the production side to the distribution side to the manufacturing side. Full spread from the meat industry all the way circular around through dry goods, through produce, through groceries, through dairy. So I was able to get that full vast of knowledge very, very early on in my career and very professionally. And what I saw in the intercity of lower income, predominantly African Americans, is that we were faced with a demise of certain type of stores and a rise of other types. And this was indifferent than your other communities, whether it be your German community, your Italian community,
Sure.
your Jewish community. It was indifferent than that. And I saw this coming. So, going through grad school and all that gives you think tank. The glass is half full rather than half empty.
Exactly.
So I'm looking at this model. Well, I can do this. Keep thinking like, why isn't this coming over here? Why
Sure.
isn't these people coming here? And so I just shifted away from that and just started preparing myself to do it. And then that grew my idea to come to fruition and to have a store.
That's amazing because from the article, I think your first occupation, your first job, I think at 10 years old, was in a supermarket.
Yeah.
And was it that experience that was the catalyst for the singular focus into all the aspects of the grocery business?
Totally. My godfather owned a store at 71st in St. Lawrence, and that was my first job in that store. And he armed me with something I still have today. That's unbreakable. I used to ask him, can I came in the store as a bagger. And I was a shorty guy. What else can I do? So I'm bagging groceries,
Sure.
and I'm running groceries out to the car and taking them in the neighborhood, and all of that stuff. But it was a small grocery store, but he had every department. He had a viable produce department. He had a very big meat department. He had dry groceries. He had dairy. He had frozen. All these things. So I would ask periodically, can I work in the produce department? So I went through the whole store and all the departments, and not one time did he tell me no. What he told me was, go ahead. And what that gave me is what I have today, is no matter what you set your mind to do, you can handle it.
The go-ahead mentality.
Exactly. And so that's what I have. So from there, it went bigger. So I'm looking at his store and what he has and other people like him. And I'm going to throw out a few names. A.T. Hopkins, the Flournoy Browns, the Harvey Collins, the Leonard Harris. These people were marketers at that time. They were store owners at that time during that era. And I saw that shift and change where that's now going away. And me as a young man, what's happening with with people younger than me? They're not seeing this direction. They're not seeing this career path. They're not seeing this focus. And before you know it, we're not going to be in it.
Absolutely.
And that's where we are today. We are not in this industry. We have less than 1% in it, less than 0.5%. I think the only person I know that's in the industry is a friend of mine named Mr. Calhoun, Mr. Greg Calhoun. He's in the South. I believe he has about 2 or 3 stores, and that's it.
And it's amazing because I've been doing research over the last several weeks and saw our history as merchants in the grocery business is rich. In the Depression era, the Colored Merchants Association established grocery stores across the country in multiple cities and all of these things. And it's as if today, none of that ever existed.
It's like we're not in this profession at all. And that is really a shame in today's time. In today's time, modern technology, resources, all these things that we have better education now. And that is an industry that we are not in at all. And there are different facets of the grocery business.
Yeah, you mentioned so many.
there's a produce guru. They call it a produce purveyor. This is a guy who knows everything there is to know about produce. He goes to the market, he selects, he purchases, he buys, he does all these things.
Exactly.
And that is a profession. That is a hard profession, a well lucrative profession. And when I owned my store on 47th and Bishop, I used to take periodically. I would get a small class from the Chicago Public School, and I would give them a tour of the produce market.
Sure.
And they had no idea what a produce guy was. Had no clue that was even a career path because we don't know it. So this is what I see. So we're missing that industry by far. We're just not in it. So.
Wow. And the excitement. How has the excitement, and I don't know what level the community is aware of your coming in, but have you gotten some feedback about your coming to 71st Street and filling this void that was left?
I've got a tremendous wealth of feedback from that, and directly from that community. Most of it has been directly from that community. The alderman has been fantastic in that aspect.
Excellent.
The alderman has been very, very supportive in that aspect,
which is very important.
Exactly. And the community, she's in an enriched community, and that community is showing that they are waiting for this. They are looking for this, and they are welcoming it, by far. So I've received nothing but standing ovations and welcome.
Excellent. We've got a caller. Caller, what's your question or comment?
Yes, good evening. This is a beautiful program because this is very educational, because a lot of our African American Negro kids and families, they don't understand the value starts with us. At one time here in the city of Chicago, we had all of the banks, we had all of the insurance companies, but for some reason or another, what we talk to our kids about is who won the football game, who won the basketball game. Those are material things.
Yes.
We need things with value, with true value, where we can just continue to teach our family, because we're teaching everyone else. Everyone that's got to thrive in business. Guess who taught them?
Absolutely.
We are African-American Negro people. We have had grocery stores that 79. This young man had been in that business for I don't know how long. His son went to one of the best historic black colleges. But that young man didn't want to follow in his father's footsteps. So who got it? The other ethnic group.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Orange and yellow.
Thank you so much for your call. Thank you for your call and your comment, and you raised.
And my business, I tried to get my people to have the chicken place marketing, but they didn't do it. It was called Green Acres Chicken in the Box.
Well, thank you so much.
Chicken wings 3 for 49 cents.
Okay. Well, thank you for your call.
So
let me comment.
At ourselves and start doing a better job. And thank you for this program.
Thank you for watching, and thank you for the call. You said a lot there. And succession planning is a major disconnect in our community, where the first generation doesn't pass that on. We've got another call, and I'll get right back to that. Go ahead, caller. What's your comment and question?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. So I've been watching your show, and I'm actually very familiar with the area that you're referring to. I live actually a little further down Jeffrey, but certainly I'm familiar with that intersection. And I understand that since that Dominic's has been vacant, a lot of other stores have been presented with the opportunity to come and take it over, and they all passed. And having seen the intersection, I understand why. There are people out there all hours, doing all sorts of things. It doesn't necessarily look like the most desirable area. So I'm curious to know, what made your guests say yes to that area after so many other people had said no?
Great question. Thank you for the call. Green?
Well, one of the things is other people may have different agendas, that works for their model. They may be looking at, they have other things that drive them. Mine's may be a little different. One is a passion. One is a passion to having it. Next is the business model. Does the business model work? And absolutely, the business model works. There had to be some shaving, some adjusting, and those things maybe other people are not willing to adjust. And what are some of the adjustments? You might have to adjust in size. You might have to adjust in the way you want your patrons to look at your center.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I may not have those different quotas, so I will go around that and what's more important to me, and then I step out, and those things is more important to me. It's more important to me the community.
Mm-hmm.
It's more important to me is exemplary, being an example.
Yeah, exactly.
What you were saying, that you know other people have passed up. That doesn't mean I have to do that.
Absolutely.
And if we do that, and we just follow those kind of trains, then we will be doing what other people
Other
doing,
people
and,
do.
and we're missing our focus.
Exactly. And it sounds like, you know, in the article, and it's a wonderful article. If anyone's interested in picking up the South Shore Current, you can get it at 2423 East 75th Street. In the article, it talks about you go beyond the store. You talk about replacing the brick with glass and the whole aesthetics of the store. And I think that speaks to what the young lady was saying when she called about the environment around the store. So you're not just coming in a store, and let's face it, you grew up in this community. You know this community. You know what it once was, as opposed to someone coming from another community and just seeing an operation, a possible turnkey operation. But you see something different, and I think that's the difference between why you're staying and why you're going to be sustainable.
Exactly. And one of the things is like you say, the outlook or looking into the store. There's major changing that has to go on at the place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're moving all the brick from out front. We're putting in 2-story windows, all glass from top to bottom, from side to side.
Amazing.
You know, this is
amazing.
This is a feel good. You know, you want your customers to feel inviting to your business.
Yes.
And if that's something that another person may say, that's too much of a task.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want to do that. Or
Mm-hmm.
this or that. Then those are the things that fall into their guidelines. But for what I want to do, everything is yes for
Mm-hmm.
all of the right reasons. If the business model works, the community needs it, wants it.
Yes.
There's a personal fit for me, meaning my personal feeling of wanting to do this. You should always do things that you feel good in doing.
Absolutely.
So you will not have to go to work or go into your investment begrudging that.
Yes.
So
yes.
all of these things is what works for me.
Mm-hmm. The concept. Talk a little bit about the concept of the store. Is this going to be obviously from the article it talks about full service. Is there going to be specialties within that full service grocery store? What should we expect?
Well, it will be a full service grocery store, fresh market.
Mm-hmm.
Today's emphasis is on fresh. And what is fresh? Fresh are your vital border departments, your perimeter departments are fresh. Your center store is dry. That is a fresh market. That's
Mm-hmm.
the category of a fresh market. So what is a viable fresh market? A fresh market is all of your trimmings along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Your eatery, your grilling or baking area, your bakery,
Mm-hmm.
your fresh fish, your fresh meats, your fresh lambs, your
Mm-hmm.
fresh produce, your fresh vegetables, your organic side, your fresh flowers, your juice bar. All of these things create a fresh market.
Mm-hmm.
So my market will have all of those trimmings plus. We'll have a small cafe inside of the market.
Excellent.
We'll have a nice eatery. We'll have a nice bakery where you can come in and get hot breads and fresh baked breads and so forth, so on.
And we're living in the experience economy where, you know, the Starbucks of the world, where you don't just come for a cup of coffee. It's the experience of being the social capital that comes with just being with other people from your community, reconnecting with your community. And it sounds like that's exactly what this grocery store is going to be.
Yes, it's going to be very, very community feeling, very, very community serving. I'm going to have a very, very strong emphasis on delivery because I want to get those transient people that cannot make it to that side of town.
Excellent point.
But I have a delivery system set up, nice delivery vehicles, and on-time deliveries. We will go wherever we need to go to delivery. Today's technology we're more social, technological savvy today.
Yes.
So therefore, my internet side will be very, very strong. You can go online, shop my store, pay for your goods, get your product delivered as well. So I will have all of those things inside of one.
It is amazing. It is amazing. I am so excited. So, do you have a time frame? I'm sure people at home are excited about this. What's your construction timeline to opening that first door, that first opening day?
Well, there's major work that's being done
Mhm.
on the inside. Part of the space is going to be accompanied with charter fitness, so that's a small part of the space that will be partitioned off for that. So that's a major move, and then the grocery store itself. So that time frame that I'm looking at for the grocery store, the charter fitness part will probably be finished, completed before that.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at late spring of 2017.
Excellent.
Late spring of 2017.
Excellent. Well, that's wonderful, and that's interesting that you're going to have an exercise component
Yes.
to fresh foods, because obviously that marriage is what is lacking in our community. We're not exercising. We're not eating the right foods. And I read in the article that there's a nutrition education element to the store where you're going to have space for cooking demonstrations
Yes.
and just teaching nutrition education, which is excellent.
Yes.
Do you have already, and obviously this is probably a little premature, but do you know what that is going to look like?
Yes, a cooking demonstration is and will be show proof. So
Mhm.
you create an environment where your patrons, your customers are there, and it's a whole shopping environment.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of tasting,
Mhm.
sampling,
Mhm.
and then we will have kind of a quick answer to that is we'll cut up a quick recipe and a quick layout for for a meal, a
Mhm.
layout for a meal, whether it be lunch or dinner, meaning these 4 or 5 things pair together,
Mhm.
and these 4 or 5 things are very strong in nutritional value,
Mhm.
and these 4 or 5 things are quick in preparation. This is what you have. And if we get really creative with it, we'll have a nice, good price point to that.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'll have a prepared food side where there will be food on the go. So I'll
And that's
have, right.
that's an excellent point, because the location that you're in, there's a huge amount of traffic from the downtown area coming back, folks that live who can stop off at the grocery store, get prepared meals, and that's perfect. We've got another caller. Caller, go ahead with your question or comment.
Yes, sir. I was wondering, like your store, which sounds great, but are you going to be able to compete with stores like Walmart or Pete's Fresh Meats and Groceries?
Great,
Because there's a lot of competition out there.
great question.
So is
Great
your
question.
store
The
gonna be
grocery business.
competitive
Thank you
in
for
prices?
thank you so
Because
much for that
you're
call,
gonna
sir.
improve the prices,
That's a
I
great
know
question too,
that's why
because
most people would go to your store. Thank you.
okay, thank you. The competition, the grocery business in general, is that a high profit business model to begin with? And to his question, what do you say about the WalMarts that have kind of taken a share of the grocery business?
Well, Walmart is a different type of store than a fresh market. Walmart is what is considered a big box store
Mhm.
that has everything under the same roof.
Mhm.
Now, when you have a store that has everything under that roof, you can buy your tires, you can buy battery, you can buy your bread, you can
Exactly.
buy this.
Exactly.
You can maximize your profit a little bit better than that. So,
Mhm.
can I compete with that on an end profit model? No. Walmart's profits will be higher than mine because they have higher volume and more under their roof.
Mhm.
But when you scale that down on a business sector and your square footage is this and your employees are this and your product is this, then
Mhm.
I can come out with my yield in the right area,
Mhm.
meaning I'm not losing money, I'm making money. So
Absolutely.
I have to make money in order to stay there. I have to pay my bills.
Absolutely.
And it's all about business. So yes, I would be able to compete very, very well, and in some areas better, because my emphasis, because I'm a little smaller, I can pay a little bit more attention, and it's a little more personal in my fresh area than a Walmart would be able to do.
I am
So-
betting. I am betting on you. You are going to be successful. The community has been clamoring for this for so long. Kareem, thank you so much.
Thank
I've
you.
got to have you back. You've got to do a second show with me. Thank you. You've been watching the By Any Greens Necessary show. My guest has been Kareem Biyal of the Kareem's Fresh Market. Join us next week for By Any Greens Necessary, and enjoy your evening.